Hey, Blender Bob here. So the real title for this clip should have been, let's take one shot from the second movie that looks really bad and try to fix it the best we can. But it kind of didn't fit in my standard thing. Anyways, it's kind of a clickbait too. So this shot, every time I see the movie, I feel like, how can this shot made it to the final film? I mean, they have like 2,000 shots in this movie. They built an entire highway to do this. They work like crazy for the entire Matrix movie, but this shot, this particular one, how can it go through the entire approved process? How can the director, the VFX soup, the CG soup, they looked at this and they said, oh yeah, that's perfect, let's ship it. I don't get it. All right, let's start with the beginning. So I imported my image here. Just go background image, select your camera, go background image and load your image sequence. I place the camera to get something that looks like it's in the right angle. And now let's take a look frame by frame. Look at the sword. We don't even see it. Now we see a little bit. Now it's black. We see, oh, now it's white. Oh, what? It's gone. Here it is again. And whoop, it disappears. Oh, it's completely gone. No sword, no sword. Where's the sword? Hey, whoa, oh, there's a little bit. Yeah, now it's gone again. We don't see. Wow, okay, it's black. It's so you understand the problem here is that we cannot follow the movement. We don't see the sword. It completely disappears here. So the entire shot is like this. We cannot follow the movement because we lose the sword. All right, so here's what's going on here. You get a metallic blade that moves in front of a green screen, but sometimes it's oriented so it reflects the green in the middle. So when you key it, it becomes transparent. And if you add the motion blur with this, well, sometimes you will simply lose the blade. So I found a frame where we can see the blade the most flat, the most perpendicular to us, and it's this one here. And look at the model that I did. It's very simple. It's just a flat cube that's been elongated and curved a little bit. That's it. You don't need all the details. You don't need bevels. You don't need to create the line that goes in the middle of the blade. And no. You don't need any of this. It's all going to be motion blurred like hell. And I put a handle. This handle, I will not see it in the render. This is just to make it easier. And I parented it to the blade so that they move together. But I don't want to render this part. This is just for me to place the blade. It's easier this way. Just make sure you turn off the camera so it doesn't render. Okay, so at this point, all you need to do is to match the animation. So keyframe on location and rotation, and you just go frame by frame. Now, obviously, if you go frame by frame, you want to make sure that you will turn on auto keyframe. Otherwise, it's going to take you forever. So just press the little blue button here. I forgot to do it. So now click auto keyframe. And this way, every time I move something, it's going to keyframe it automatically. Okay, so let's speed it up a little bit. I can tell you that it took me about 15 minutes to do all 73 frames. That's nothing. 15 minutes is nothing. All right, let's see what it looks like. So if I scroll, you can see, yeah, okay, looks pretty good. You can see sometimes I skip some keyframes. That's because when I keyframe something, I go like every 2 frames, and sometimes the one in between will just work automatically, so I don't need to change it. I don't need to fix anything. So always do your animation, like you can try like every 5 frames, every 2 frames, something like this. It moves so much that every 5 frames is too much. So in this case, every 2 frames, and that's it. For the shader, it's really simple. I just put metallic at maximum, specular at maximum, and that's it. That's the shader. It's that simple. For the lighting, I only use an HDRI, and I use the easy HDRI add-on to do this, and you just select the one you want. I took something with a city with an overcast sky. The link is in the description for the add-on. As for the rendering, well, cycles, of course, you only need 128 samples, and you turn on the denoise. That's it. It's gonna do the job just fine. Compositing, I'm now in Nuke, and you will see why I do this in Nuke, because I need to paint some stuff. Anyways, now what I want to do is to remove the old blade, because sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's black, sometimes it's white, so it's just going to get in conflict with our renders. To do this, it's really simple. You select your plate and you press the letter P, like in polyribbonucleotide, and that word will give you 500 points in Scrabble. I'm going to use the clone tool for this, and you use Control to decide the size of your brush, and you press Alt to decide from where it's going to clone. So now you can paint out the swords. Now usually this would be done on the keying level, on the original plate. I don't have it, I only have the final product, so I will do it on this. And you don't want to remove the sword in every frame. You want to do it mostly in the sky, because this is where we get the most problems. Okay, now I'm going to put my plate on top of my roto paint. So I'm going to select both, and I'm going to press M like in mesozeugma, which of course means the placement of a word referring to 2 different clauses between them. What? So I didn't tweak any colors, contrast or anything, and it already looks better than what we have in the movie. Alright, let's keep going. I'm going to add a grade node by pressing J, like in galactophagist, and that means you are a milk drinker. Okay, so I press on the gain here, and what I want to do is to sample the sky color. So I just press Ctrl and select the color that I want, and you can see that the blade already changed a little bit to match the sky, but maybe the color is a little bit too saturated, so I'm going to create a saturation node so I can play with it and just adjust the amount of color that I want in the blade. And I'm going to keep tweaking this. I can add more color here manually. Maybe I want to go a little bit more saturated and play with it so I can really tweak it the way I want it. I'm going to add a second grade node, and this one will be to do all the adjustments. The first thing I want to do here before I tweak anything is to keyframe all the nodes. So this way, if I do changes, it's going to automatically keyframe everything. So now I start adjusting frame by frame. I mostly play with the gain and the gamma to adjust the frames. Now, I already did a clip on using the grade node in my compositing series. The link is right up there. You can go check it out if you haven't seen it. You should. Okay, now I get an issue because my blade comes out of the frame. This is something you normally wouldn't have when you do the production because you would work in the real aspect ratio. So I'm just going to add a crop node for now just to fix it. So it's that simple. Okay, let's keep going. So doing the fixing on all the frames took me about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not perfect, it's just a demo that I'm doing. If I spent an hour, it would be probably way much better. Well, actually, it's pretty close already. You can see I added a blur node also because sometimes it was just too sharp, so I just blurred it and I keyframed it also. And I had to play with the saturation also from time to time to adjust it and make sure that it's not too saturated or not enough saturated, stuff like that. The next problem we have is the blade is supposed to be behind his arm. So what I'm going to do here is change the over here, make it to screen, which is something I should have done from the beginning. So I changed it to screen and I'm just going to paint directly on my render here, again with a roto paint. I'm going to choose the paint tool right here and I'm going to select the color to black. So because my merge is in screen mode, the black will not affect anything on the image. So I got my black here and I just need to paint on top and just remove everything I don't want to see. So on the arm, I paint it out slowly and here we go. So if we take a look at the paint itself, what I did, this is the plate and with the paint, it's this. If I revert my merge node to over like it was before, you will see the difference here. I put it in over and now you see there's a black spot here. We don't want that. That's why I put it to screen. Fast forward here, this takes about, I don't know, a few minutes. It's not very long because I don't need to do all the frames. I am done. So now I'm going to create a right node by pressing W, like in Wash on Shell Disc. And I hope I didn't offend anyone because I have no idea what I just said. Okay, now let's look and compare the before and after. So you see, it wasn't that hard. It took me like an hour to fix that, to get everything working. It's pretty good actually for 1 hour work. I don't see any reason why this wasn't fixed in the first place. I cannot believe it. Now imagine if I spent 2 hours on it, or half a day, or a full day. It would be even better. So yeah, we just fixed a shot from Matrix. Took about an hour. No excuses. It was simple, it was easy. Hey, cat, I'm recording here. What do you want? Wow, I'm recording here. You're so annoying. I'm not gonna re-record this because I wanna have my breakfast. All right, bye everybody. See you next week or the week after. Nigrucha, minou, oui, titana. Nigrucha, oui, titana, 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 titana.